We've been talking England squad as well, who we feel should be in there, and paying particular focus to Ivan Toney, having won his first call-up for the senior side. We've already heard from Aaron McLean, his former coach at Peterborough. We can speak to the man who took him to Peterborough United now. Barry Fry, their Director of Football, has joined the programme. Very good evening, Barry.
Good evening, chaps.
Evening.
Evening.
You must be as pleased as anybody that Ivan Toney has found himself in the England squad.
Well, I've got to be honest. If anybody deserves an England call-up, it's Ivan, because I watched him first play as a 16-year-old boy for Northampton, and he played against our youth team as well. And we did try to buy him for 200 grand, but Graham Carr, who was developed all the players and was the director of football at Newcastle at the time, felt sorry for his old club Northampton and paid 250 up front. But going to Newcastle was a disaster because they never give him a chance. They loaned him out to 6 different clubs. He always had a bag packed to go wherever they wanted him to go. He didn't feel he belonged. So when we come in and bought him 4 years ago, I said to him, come back home. You need a bit of stability. You need a bit of love. And we're the club to give it to you. So we did. And the first day, he wanted to listen. He wanted to learn. He wanted to improve. And 4 years later, he's still like that. He wants to listen. He wants to learn. He wants to improve. And Thomas has done brilliant, obviously, with him at Brentford. Took him to another stage. There was loads and loads of clubs in for him, but, they all said, he scored goals in League One. Not sure he can do it in the Champ or the Prem. I had great belief he could do them in both, and told everybody that. Not only that, he was our best defender. He headed more balls out from free kicks and corners than any of our defenders put together. So he is an all-round player, and also great man to have in the dressing room. Win, lose or draw, he lifted players up. He made them go again, and we made him captain for a time, and he repaid us greatly. Mind you, January before we sold him, I had a big row with him and his dad. And if you think Ivan's a big man, you ought to see his dad. Twice as tall and twice as broad. And they wanted to go to Barnsley, who was in the Championship at the time. And I said, I'm telling you what, if you allow your agents to take you to Barnsley, you want to sack your agents because you're far, far better than that. At that time, I think they could both beat me up. But now, when they look back, they're very pleased I waited for Brentford. Brentford was already in. Brentford bid us 7 times for Ivan. They was very, very persistent. And in the end, we gave way because we held him up for the Barnsley. We didn't want to hold him up for Brentford. And it's worked out brilliant for everybody, Brentford, Peterborough and the player.
And it'll work out well, presumably, for Peterborough if he does get his first England cap over the next couple of weeks. I'd imagine that you put a clause in there that if he got international recognition that Peterborough would be entitled to a few quid. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say I put a lot of different clauses in there. And I must say, Brentford have been absolutely fantastic. They've paid us on the dot for everyone. In fact, when they got promotion, they paid us early. So they've been magnificent. They've been absolutely different class, Brentford, with us and with Ivan. They brought him on. He's done just what he done with little old Peterborough. He's done it Brentford in the Championship and in the Premier League. And like I said earlier, nobody deserves an England call-up more than him because he's worked very, very hard at his game. He always thought he could make a player. He had that belief in him. And despite the kickbacks and the kicks in the what's it, he carried on and he's, hopefully he's reached his goal. We'll see. But it'd be wonderful if he's involved in the England squad to go to the World Cup and fetch the World Cup back.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Since '66.
Agreed.
Come on, England.
Agreed.
Bayo?
Yeah, what's going on, Baz? How you doing, mate? You okay?
Adebayo, how are you, my son? We're missing you on the field.
I know.
What's the matter with you?
I'm old now.
Another year at Peterborough.
No, I'm old. All right, listen. But actually, I wanted to touch on, when you said you saw Ivan at 16.
Yeah.
And of course, I was with him when he was at 15. What stood out to you when you saw him as a 16-year-old, when you first saw him, and then when he walked through the door at Peterborough? What did stand out for you? Because I want people to get the sense of what...
His presence on the field as a youth player, his presence as soon as he walked into the ground to talk about terms and all that. It wasn't an easy sell because he'd been to so many clubs, and we really had to sell Peterborough. But I said to him, look, we are the best club in the world. Look at our stats. Over the last 15 years, we've sold a player every year. We've got to offset the losses. But we put you on the stage, and if you're good enough, we get what we can for you and sell you. You won't become a millionaire at Peterborough United, but when we sell you, you will be, because you get a 4 or 5 year contract on ridiculous money, and that's what's happened to 16, 17 players that we've sold on. So he bought into that in the end. When I refused to let him go to Barnsley, that was the end of the window. As soon as the window shut, mate, he ran through brick walls for us still. His attitude never changed. And I think you get that with players that been in the lower levels, had a bit of misfortune, not had all the luck in the world. They're hungry. And that's Ivan. And even when he went to Brentford, his presence. And in the dressing room, he's a man. He's a leader of men. He's brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so pleased for him, I couldn't tell you.